All right, big news already happening in free agency with a couple of cuts or soon to be cuts, one being the Philadelphia Eagles planning on cutting Darius Slay. Now, there's been a lot of conversation over the last couple of weeks, obviously with the Amon-Ra St. Brown podcast, kind of kicking it off that if Darius Slay was to get cut, which he planned that, he was planning for it anyway, that there could be a likely reunion in Detroit. A few of us spoke about it. A few of us talked about it. I didn't think it really made a whole lot of sense. But now that Philly's doing what they're doing, may have a little bit of a different response to it. But at the end of this video, you're going to understand, I guess, how clear I am on what makes sense to me. And I would love to know, does it make sense for you? To be blunt with it, I think that Darius back in Detroit has some good feeling to it. I think it just has to be the right scenario, right? Everything kind of has to be perfect in this case. But what am I talking about here? So obviously it was just a little while ago that it was announced that the Eagles plan on releasing Darius Slay. Obviously it's a cap saving move. Darius knew it was coming. So let's get into the headlines. Let's talk about it. All right, Eagles releasing obviously the multi-Pro Bowl corner. Could the Lions be interested in a reunion? Are you interested in a reunion with Darius Slay for your Detroit Lions? I'm 50-50, but I would love to know from you guys in the comments below. And if it's not Darius Slay, what other free agents are you looking for on the open market right now? Or is it Carlton Davis? Would you rather see Carlton signed to a multi-year contract? So this was about 1 o'clock today, discussing, Darius Slay is getting, he's getting a fresh start. He's fresh off a Super Bowl win with the Eagles. But the NFL schedule obviously waits for no man, as this article likes to say by Benjamin Raven, reporting here that the Eagles plan to release the 6-time Pro Bowl corner. Now, Slay has not been shy about this. He obviously said this on the St. Brown podcast not too long ago that, he would like his final season to be in Philly if he had one more season left. But he also wasn't shy about saying, hey, Detroit, it's like my second home. I wouldn't mind being in Detroit too. So obviously being a veteran that he is, he made some comments while on the St. Brown Brothers podcast where he said, hey, if he preferred to stay in Philly, but if he were to go, he knew where there was another contender, just so happened to have some pretty good relationships there. So Fox Sports reports a return to Philly obviously still remains in the cards, even though he's getting, a post-June 1st release. However, that's going to require some cap gymnastics. I like to call that, roster gymnastics. But anyway, it is what it is. And according to Darius Slay, if it is, it is. If it ain't, it ain't. For sure, the two spots I would love to always be at is Philly or Detroit. The main two are the main ones I'd love to be at. So look, he's not mincing words here. He would love to be, in Philly for one more season. They've got a hell of a team that they can run it back with, and I'm sure he'd love to be a big part of that yet again. Now, what is this going to save Philly? It's been reported that the post-June 1st cut saves them $4.3 million in cap space. And even with Slay entering his potential final year of his career, this is kind of a really intriguing option in this free agency class. I mean, I agree with this article because it said the exact same thing. It is a really intriguing option. Pro Football Focus credited Slay with only allowing 32 receptions on 64 targets. I mean, that's like 50% completion rate on 371 yards and only 2 touchdowns along the whole season. That's extremely good at 34 years old. Now, he played 14 games. I think he missed 4 games due to a knee injury or something, but he didn't have an interception. Not that he really needed one. Obviously, he played to a certain level that didn't allow completions. So Slay remains 1 year removed from making 3 straight Pro Bowls. He missed 8 games over the last 2 seasons. I mean, that's not terrible, especially for a vet. And we know how Dan Campbell likes to treat the vets. So here's what he said about Detroit. He said, I got nothing but love for Detroit. The Lions, man, for sure. That's the team that took a chance on me, a kid from Brunswick, Georgia. So it's always nothing but love. Well, it's nothing but love here too, Slay. It's just all business, though, as well. He also goes on to say, quote, I root for them every time. I want them to win every game besides the game I'm playing against them. But yeah, man, that's home. That's my second home for sure. End quote. Now, wouldn't it be interesting? Wouldn't it be really interesting if Slay did come back to Detroit and then we get Philly in the NFC Championship game? Oh boy, that would be one for the ages right there. Now, Carlton Davis obviously is part of this problem, right? Brad Holmes had an opportunity to extend Carlton last year when Carlton first got in. Carlton was open to it and kind of missed the boat. And so now Carlton potentially out this season, going to be too much money this season, projected to be $13.8 million or more per season, but a multi-year deal is what Carlton Davis is projected to receive. Now, his jaw's healed up. Obviously, the helmet-to-helmet hit that he took wasn't his fault. It's a freak injury. So I still consider Carlton to have, a pretty healthy season last year, even though he missed a few games. I think he did really well. At the end of the day, though, I think that this is a mistake by Brad Holmes where he did not extend Carlton. But at the same time, I think he was looking to the future that, I just brought in 2 guys in the draft. I'm probably going to bring another one in next draft. We're trying to get younger and better at the same time. The Carlton was that bridge, and we had a Meek signed for 2 seasons who definitely could be, the next leader in line. Be that as it may, I still think now hindsight, looking back, not giving Carlton a 2-year deal was a mistake. Love to have him back this year, but investing into him for 3 seasons, I think is also a mistake. So there's that too. So that's where it brings us to Slay. And does it make sense to invest in him for 1 year, or does it make sense to find somebody else that we can invest in for multiple seasons that's not as expensive? Let's get back to the headlines. Now, Darius's final season with the Lions, if we look back at his tenure, seven seasons. Now, during his final season with the Lions in 2019, he was hampered by a hamstring injury. Now, he only missed a couple of games that year. The prospect of giving a big money extension to a 28-year-old cornerback with ongoing hamstring issues, just too much risk. But you know what? That's not the real issue. The real issue is he could not stand Matt Patricia. They completely had a falling out. So the reason why Darius left really didn't have much to do about money or injury history. I'm sure that's part of it. It had more to do with the relationship that was tainted by Matt Patricia. Now, 5 years with the Eagles, well, he ended up getting a 3-year, $50 million extension, but he also stayed fairly healthy. He played in 15, 16, and 17 games, 3 seasons in a row, right after leaving the Detroit Lions. Also played in 12 and 14 games this last season and 9 games in the playoffs, winning a Super Bowl. No major injuries with the Eagles. The most significant issue that he had was an arthroscopic knee surgery in 2023, which led to 4 games being missed. Now, that recovery, obviously not a big deal. 4 weeks is 4 weeks, though. In retrospect, the Lions would have been wise to give him a big extension back then. We just knew that wasn't happening. Darius probably wouldn't even accepted the money had he been offered because of the issues with Patricia. So, according to this Lions Wire article, now that Slay is available again, do the Lions roll the dice on the 34-year-old? Oh boy, that's a big question. Man, it's a big question because, look, I rock with Darius. I think he's a wonderful dude. I think he's a good football player. I think he fits and embodies everything about Detroit. I think he would absolutely love playing with Dan Campbell and on this cast of characters that the Detroit Lions have. They have an amazing cast of football players, athletes, coaches, teachers, you name it. But what's it going to cost for 1 season to bring Darius Slay back to Detroit? And I think that number is probably no less than $10 million. So here's my offer, in my opinion. Darius, and you guys let me know in the comments below too. What would you offer Darius Slay? Do you want him to come back? I would love to know what you guys think. And if it's not Darius, who is it? Who are you going after? Who are you targeting if you're Brad Holmes right now? Is it a 2-year deal, 3-year deal, that you're looking for on the open market? Or you're looking for another 1-year bridge, kind of deal, like a Darius Slay or, what was Carlton Davis last season? Look, come on back, Slay, but you're going to have to do it for like $7.5 million. I know I'm spending money that's not mine. $7.5 million bucks. I think the Lions could pull that off. And the fact that he's getting cut, he's getting some money out of the deal anyway. So $7.5 million all in. Come on back to Detroit. I'd love to see you finish out in the Honolulu Blue, raising a Lombardi 2 seasons in a row. Let's get it. Go One Pride. Go Detroit Lions. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.